Hi everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did Lisa Glanz's challenge. I took one of her lovely elderly ladies and she looks a little grumpy and strict, but I really liked her and I thought, hey, let me try this today. So I used her linen canvas and I renamed it, and I started by dragging and dropping a blue, but it was a little too saturated, so I used the curves adjustments to make it a little bit dull and to give that look. I used her character set and I found the bean shape, which I stamped in the middle of the screen, and I used her Lisa's pencil to draw my own shape version of that. At first I made her eyes a bit small, but later on I thought, let me make her eyes slightly bigger. I loved the little collar that she had and I made it slightly more smaller so I could fit that. Eventually I used Lisa's pencil to just color in the whole face and neck, and then I used a different layer to make her hair, and I went over the lines because sometimes going over the lines ensures a cleaner cut when you delete it. I prefer doing it that way because otherwise I normally don't get the shape and I make those mistakes. Like you can see here, I've made that slight mistake. You can see the blue that's peeping out. So I created a shadow that was the opposite side of what Lisa has chosen. Her shadow is on the left side, my shadow is on the right side. I just thought it would be fun to experiment with this. It's important to fine-tune your work. Sometimes you don't get all the corners, so it's important to re-look at your shapes and fine-tune these. It always helps. I use the wet and dry brush to mark her hair. I know that this is not the same brush that Lisa used, but I just like this brush. I created a few dark splotches to create what looked like a shadow. Then I worked on her eyes and then her features. Now normally I would do this in another layer and multiply it and all that, but today I was just having fun experimenting. This is when I realized that I was doing the shadow in the wrong place. So I switched it over and I did the shadow in the correct place, because if you want to change things up, be conscious of the fact that the direction of the light has to be in the same direction. So now the shadow is on the right side and not on the left. I worked on the shadow and I kind of played with the opacity of it, and I created color burn and multiply to give a deeper effect but not so harsh. One of the things I enjoy about digital art is that even if you change your mind about the shape, you can always delete it and add elements. Like I fine-tuned her shape of her collar, which I preferred. I found the glasses a bit challenging. I added like a little black around, and I added a little white inside. In her illustration, she doesn't have the white, but I was experimenting and just having fun with this. So the cheeks and the blush, I had a bit of a challenge with. I wasn't able to find what I could use. Then I did experiment and see if I could do freckles. But even that, I wasn't like completely pleased with. But eventually I selected an area, and then I blended it to kind of make her look like she had a red face. So it looks like, it's not blush, but it's kind of like she has a face that's a bit red. This was a phase where I was creating the background and giving it a bit of a lift. Find it, you have to play around with these stamps. So eventually I did, and then I overlaid it, but it was again very, very bright. So eventually I just lowered the opacity of the brush set. I wasn't very happy with the background. I really like the way she does it. So I'll have to play around more and figure out how she does the background. You can see that I'm struggling with this. Then I just merged all the layers, and then I thought I'd add a few fine-tune, like I'll fine-tune her like highlights and shading a little bit. I was playing around with some of the textures, but eventually I went against that because it was looking too textured. If you see in her original drawing, her face is very smooth. I created a few shadows, and then I lowered the opacity to kind of give it a little depth. I added a little white into the outfit because I had made it a bit pale, so I wanted to kind of create a white effect, but it wasn't working out because I had merged all the layers, so I couldn't do that. So eventually then I just selected that part, and then I highlighted that area. And that's it. This is my illustration and how I did Lisa Glanz character challenge.